Hey guys, Shawn here with TDSJ. I'm back with my Tristar semi-auto 12 gauge. So I've actually decided to go ahead and break down the rest of my receiver. I know in the last one I said that I was just going to leave it, but I took it off. I figured it out. That's the first time I've ever actually broke this shotgun down that far. But today I'm going to show you how I clean this firearm. It may differ from how you guys clean yours, or certain steps or procedures that you do, but this is how I clean my firearm. So first thing I always like to start out doing is the barrel of the shotgun. So I'll get all this stuff ready. A rod. Okay, got the brush assembled. Dip it in some of our solvent here. And go ahead and start cleaning the barrel. Now, this shotgun shouldn't be too dirty. So, because I cleaned it about a week ago, and I think I've only shot it twice since then, so I'm not expecting it to be super dirty. Okay. Check it, yeah. So now we'll grab some patches, run some patches down it. I run 2 patches in my barrel. See how dirty this thing actually really is. Swirl it around on the way in. I guess it's a little dirty. It's not too bad though. Seen worse. That's what the barrel looked like. Added this with about, I want to say maybe 50 shells. That's what it looked like. All this back. Then I'll brush this lower part right here of the barrel. I like to brush it out and then wipe it out with a rag. Just get all the grime and unused powder off of it. Okay, and then that should be your barrel. Put that up here. The next thing we'll clean is the choke for the barrel. Now on this, I like to use the brush. Where is it? There it is. And just get in there and kind of twirl it around. And brush the outside. Get anything out of the threads that may be on there. snap it all off. Run this down the middle of it, like so. Just to kind of clean anything on the inside that may be in there. Just like that. And what I like to do is get my lube here, not the spray can, but this little bottle, and I'll put some lube here on the threads here, because we just put solvent in there. And I like to do this just to keep everything nice and oiled, so that, well, for two reasons. It kind of helps prevent rust, and then it keeps your threads lubed, so that when you go to thread it back in, it threads nicer, I think. I feel, anyway. I could be wrong. It could just be something dumb that I do. But anyway, so there is your barrel. And choke. Now what I'll do is I'll install the choke into the end of the barrel. We'll just install as we clean. So this is simple. It just goes in like this in the end of the barrel till the threads touch. Then you just thread it down on in there till it's flush with the barrel. And then you use your choke key to tighten it the rest of the way. There you go. So now we got our barrel and our choke down. Let's work on the carry arm for the bolt, the bolt arm. Now this is simple. I just solve it down, brush it out a little bit, get anything on there that might be residue or dirt or grime, just get it all cleaned out and wipe it down. Now I'm not doing as thorough of a job on this because, like I said, it's already clean. I maybe put 25 to 50 shells through this just this weekend, so it's not super dirty, but usually I'll shoot my shotgun every weekend, and I'll put about, well, at least every weekend. I shouldn't say every weekend. I'm not that dedicated, but at least once a weekend I'll go out and shoot, and I'll usually put about 100 to 200 shells through it, and then I'll clean it then because it's usually pretty dirty. Okay, so now we'll leave this here in front of us because we're going to clean our firing pin and our mag, and then our spring, and then our bolt. We'll assemble all of that and then install that on here, and then put that aside after we lube everything all up. Okay, I'm not even sure if I'm actually going to use solvent on the rest of this, but normally I would brush all of this out, this channel and this hole back here where their firing pin goes through. But I don't think I'm going to do that this time, just seeing how clean it is. And normally I would do the same thing. I would brush all the inside of this out with solvent in your brush, the back side here where your bolt comes out, or your firing pin comes out of the bolt. I would brush all that out. But this is actually looking super clean, so I don't think I'm going to worry about it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to install or reinstall your firing pin back into this guy. So the first thing that you'll need is this top carry thing that goes on top of the bolt. And I believe this is what catches the hammer and brings the hammer back into the cock position. And so it's got like a little bevel part here on the end, and it seats into the back of the bolt back here on this side. So what you got to do is you just put it in first into that little crevice, and then it slides in like that, and it'll sit in there. It won't fall out the bottom. If you tip it upside down, it'll come out. But if you have it right side up, it won't. It'll just sit in there, which is nice. Okay, then there's a big groove in the back of your bolt. The big groove that's cut in there. On the front of the bolt, it's flat, and then you got your ejector right here. That's your ejector. And so what you want to do is grab your firing pin and your spring. So you put your spring on top of your firing pin, the skinny part of the firing pin. Then you insert it into the back of the bolt, into the hole, and then you push it in. And then on your firing pin, you'll have a little bevel right here. You want to line that up with this hole here so you can put your pin in. And that pin, which is right here, holds your firing pin in place so that it won't come out of your gun. See, so now it's in there. It's in there, the firing pin's in there, it won't come out, see? It's all in there. So now that's all complete and set up. So then we'll give it a little lube. Actually, we'll just spray some lube on it, make it fast, since it's not too dirty. And we'll wipe down all the big puddles, like so. The outside, make it look clean, double check, make sure I got everything in there right. Okay. Now how this goes onto your carry arm, it is on the front of this arm here, you got a little tab that sticks out right up here. It's a little tab. Then on your bolt assembly, you got a little cut in here in the front of your bolt. So here's the front where the firing pin comes out. See if I push the firing pin up. That's what strikes your primer to make your shell go off. So up front underneath here is a cut. They made a cut there. And then that little tab actually just slides right in. You want to put the tab end in first, match it up, put the tab in, and then pull back and down. Once that's on there, then that's on there. It may fall off if you hold it upside down. Yep, see, it'll fall off if you hold it upside down. As long as you're holding it somewhat upright, I mean, it's not going to fall off if you're like this unless you're wiggling it, but if you hold it up like that, you should be fine. Okay, now that's done. We'll set that aside. Okay, the next thing that we'll clean will be, let's do the magazine tube. So I know in my last video I said I'm not going to take the magazine tube off. Well, I decided to, because I've never cleaned it, and I'm kind of glad that I did because it is a gummed up mess. So I'm going to use the metal brush on these threads here to clean up all of this grime that's in these threads here. See if we can get any of this grime out. Okay, then I think what I'm going to do is just run a little bit of solvent that I've already leaked on this paper towel. I think I'm just going to start it at one end and just push it through with my rod. Now keep in mind, this is not the barrel of the gun, this is just the magazine, so for the shotgun. So here I've got my rod, I'm just going to push it through all the way, get anything that happens to be in the magazine out. So now my magazine is actually a lot cleaner than it was before, so I'm satisfied, I'm happy with that. Clean the outside of it, make sure there's nothing on it that I don't want. Okay, now this assembly is a lot different than that Model 870 that I did, because this actually screws into the receiver of my shotgun. Screws in, and I'll show you what I mean. So here's the rest of the parts for the magazine. So let's clean all this up, and then I'll show you how this installs. So this is like the follower for my magazine. This is what comes in contact with the first shotgun shell inside the magazine when you're loading it in there. Now, I'll show you how to assemble this, but I'm not going to be able to keep it assembled until I get the receiver clean, because when you screw it in, that's what holds all of it together. So this piece, this black piece, goes in first, and this is where your plug will go into your shotgun. So if this was on top of the magazine, your plug would go in there like that. That's what it looks like on the inside. And then you've got your spring on the inside, like so. Then your magazine, so it sits on top like this in your magazine, and then this is in the bottom, right in here. So when you're loading shells into your mag, they go in here, in this side. So that's basically what it looks like, all put together. But for time's sake, I'm just going to put the cap in, then I'm going to put the spring in, put a little lube on these threads, and on the cap for the nuts, or for the nut for the magazine nut, as I like to call it. Okay, now we'll set that aside because we're ready to install that. Here's the cap for that. Oh, one other thing that I forgot is the charge handle. Now, I usually don't charge or clean the charge handle. I just wipe it off a little bit. It doesn't get too dirty. So that's done. Okay, so the next thing that we'll do is the trigger assembly that I've already got taken apart. Here's my trigger assembly. It's all taken apart. Out of the gun, we'll give it a quick blow over anything out of there that's in there that shouldn't be. Okay. Then I usually brush this down with solvent too, using the soft brush. Just brush everything down. Make sure we get everything out of it. And brush, blow it out again. Oh, but I caught myself. That was oil. We'll blow it all out again and then give it a wipe down. Then we'll oil it up and clean the receiver, and then we'll put everything back onto the receiver. Okay, now we'll oil it up. Wipe off any big puddles of water or anything that's leaking out. I know I over lube a lot of stuff. I usually use too much lube. I know I do, but it's fine. I'd rather have too much than not enough. But that's just me. I'm sure I'll get comments saying you use way too much, you only need a little bit here and there, but that's fine. Because like I said in the beginning of the video, this is how I like to clean my firearm. You know, you may do it different, which is fine. I'm not telling you that this is how you need to do it. This is how I do it. Okay, so now onto the receiver, which is this big honker. Okay, what we're gonna need is maybe some light brushing on the inside here. Just kind of get all the gunk out of the crevices that we may have. Clean off the back where the butt connects. Got some of the paint that they put on the butt chipping off on the back there. We'll clean up the threads where the magazine screws in. Well, that looks good, so now we'll put that back on. Clean everything out. Pick up anything that's left over. Okay, now we'll start putting this receiver back together. And what I'll do first is actually the magazine, since we've already got it right up front here. So I've left this already assembled on how I showed you how everything goes together. So now we'll put the plug in on this end. Now you'll have to hold it until you get up there, because this part is under spring tension now. Once you get it in here, it's under spring tension. If you move your finger, this will shoot off. So we'll get this and we'll just slide this over and we'll put it in there like so. See what I mean by the spring tension? Let's see if I can get it all on there now. There we go, nice and easy. Okay, and then this just screws on into the receiver. Let's get some lube. It up a little bit. Oh. Still fighting me. There we go. Okay, now it's started, so we don't have to hold it too hard. Get some more lube. That's it. Now your magazine is attached. I'll give it a little tension with the pliers here. I know this is the wrong tool for the job. I'm sure they've got a specific tool for that, but I don't have it. Okay, so now that's all on there. Still got the spring tension. Everything pops back, which is good. Okay, the next thing that we'll install is your trigger assembly. Now how this goes in, actually you know what, no, we'll do the butt first and I'll show you why. Okay, so on the butt you've got a bolt that holds the butt on, and now that I've dropped it out of the hole, back of the butt, I'm going to have to use some socket extensions, and the socket, the half inch socket, to put this back in the hole. There we go. Okay, see, that's as far as the bolt sticks out right there. See that? That's as far as it sticks out. Then on the back of your receiver is a little pin that comes out, and that just goes on like so. Okay. Slide everywhere. Okay, and then you'll just hold that and then screw it in hand tight, and then we'll ratchet it down once we get the trigger assembly in there, and I'll show you why we're going to do it this way here in a minute. Why we just didn't put the trigger on first. Okay, so that's hand tight. Now, like I said, it's hand tight. It's going to wiggle. It's going to come up. So the reason why I didn't put the trigger assembly on first is this little notch right here on the trigger assembly. See it right there, the little mound? Will actually slide down into the butt right here, so you can see it's notched out right here. And so what I like to do, I like to use that as a guide reference. So I usually insert the trigger assembly up in first and then pull it down all the way, just like that. And with doing this, it usually, well, maybe not, let's redo that. Okay, so up in, there we go, that sounded better. Up in, and then down. There we go, just like that. So now everything is all aligned. See? And now the butt can't turn. It's still wiggly. It's loose still. We have to tighten that up, which is fine. So now what we'll do is, now that we've got the trigger assembly in, we'll go ahead and put this pin in. Okay, so we'll line up the hole. We'll put the pin on in. Grab our trusty rubber mallet here. Give it a few taps. Not quite lined up all the way it looks like. There we go. Let's try that. There we go. Set it in there. Okay, now we got our trigger assembly. Our butt is loosely on. Our trigger assembly is in, as you can see. So now let's tighten up the butt of the gun. Finish tightening it up all the way so it's not loose on you. So we'll use our extensions and then a socket. We'll just tighten that up. Now you don't want to muscle it on there too tight. You know, just tight enough where it's not going to come off. Okay, so now we've got the butt on there. We've got our trigger assembly. The magazine. That's all ready to go. So now let's install the spring that goes on the outside of the magazine. And that just, actually, nope, I forgot a step. Okay, so on the bottom of this receiver, now I don't know what this is for. I don't know what it does. I don't know if it holds the pump, the fake pump part of the shotgun in place. And the spring, I don't know the technical term for it, but it's just a little piece that just slides over the magazine, and then you screw it in with two little screws on each side. And so we will do that now. We'll screw this on, and then we'll put the spring on. Okay, so that goes on like that. This little guy over here is going to be a turd. Line up the screw, screw it on in. Okay. Just calling for a bigger screwdriver because this one's acting up a little bit. Yeah, okay, gotta get a bigger screwdriver for this guy. I don't know why all of a sudden I need a bigger one because I took it out just fine with the little one before and it didn't give me any problems, but now it is. There goes that screwdriver. Let's see if this will work a little bit better. There we go. Okay, now that I got that in, then the spring, there it is. Then the spring goes on the outside of the magazine. Then we got this little guy that goes on here. This is your guide arm. Your guide and your bolt will go on this part here. Just like so. I'll show you what I mean. So on how do you put this on, it's got these two little pins right here. So you'll put it on like this, and then you'll slide it forward and down at the same time. Then with your bolt on, you'll just take it all the way back. And what's neat about this is you don't have to hold it. What I like to do is I like just to pump it all the way down. Then it's held in. Now if you push the bolt release button right here without your charging handle in the gun, everything will fly off. Everything will literally fly out of this. So at this point, I'll make sure that all the lines are lined up. I'll put my charge handle back in, hold the charge handle, push the bolt release, and let it slide up. Then at that point, everything is on there. Okay? Then we'll put a little lube back on here for this guy, because he is a moving part. Okay. Then we will attach. Actually, put this on this. We'll attach the butt plate. There's the screw. So how we do this is on the butt plate. It's pretty much the same way. So you look for the screw hole, which is right there, and then there's like a little lip on this side. The screw hole you match up obviously with the only screw hole that's on the butt. So you want to put the notch end in first, and then give it a good whack, and it'll go on there. Then the screw goes in, and then we'll tighten that down with the screwdriver. Like so. Okay, then the next thing is we'll put on this nice little decoy part here. I like to call it a decoy part, but it's really not a decoy part. But basically what this is your fake this is the fake pump action for your shotgun. I don't remember if that was on last. Let me think here. I've had this apart and I've always get kind of mixed up on this piece. Okay. I think it goes on there first and then it slides on. Okay, I was right on how that goes on, but I jumped the gun with putting this on. Because apparently, can't really have a shotgun, or a decent shotgun I should say, without the barrel installed. So this little guy actually installs into the bottom of your barrel. So then how I put the barrel on is I'll have the bolt all the way up, I'll slide the barrel on the top there, and it's going to catch on your bolt and other stuff. So what I like to do is bring the bolt down just a little bit. That's all I'm doing, just a little bit, like a trigger pull. And that slides right on, just like that. The bolt's on there now, everything's on there. Then this part goes on. Almost the last piece. go. Just get on it. There we go. Okay, almost the last piece. And what I mean by that is you can either put your choke back in, or not your choke, your plug. I think I'm going to leave it out and just put it in the gun cabinet. And the reason for that is duck season. Well, actually, you know what? We're going hunting next weekend for duck. Our last duck hunt is going to be next weekend. And I'll video record that. So I'm actually going to leave that in there. That way I don't have to look for it. And then we will slide on the magazine butt cap. Tighten it down all the way, because this is actually what holds on the barrel of your shotgun. Now, I've actually seen guys go out and not have this tightened. It loosens, they go to fire around, and this whole assembly slides off of the shotgun. So yeah, so let's give it a dry fire to make sure everything works. Okay, there's nothing in the barrel. We just checked. There's nothing in the magazine because I just assembled it, so that's double checked. So I'm going to hit the bolt release button, like so, and then pull the trigger. Okay, so we're good. It's all clean, ready to go. So yeah, we should be set for duck hunting next weekend. If you guys have any questions about the shotgun, where I got it, you know, stuff like that, feel free to ask in the comments below, and I will get back to you as, you know, fast as humanly possible. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time, and like I said, this is Shawn with TDSJ, so thanks for watching. Bye.